Hello, and thank you for joining us for this virtual summit presentation, Google Meet You There, Free, Easy, Efficient Student Communication. My name is Danny Shapiro, and I'm on the marketing team here at Hawks Learning. Our speakers today are Tami Tacker and Leah Rosenberry of Purdue University Global. Professor Tacker's online journey began over 17 years ago. In addition to teaching, she has served as the subject matter expert on multiple course revisions and is a course lead for Purdue Global's highest enrollment math class, Survey of Mathematics. She is responsible for keeping the course current and relevant and building a faculty learning community for the course. She earned her BS and MS in mathematics and has taught all levels of mathematics courses, both on-site and online. Professor Rosenberry has been teaching college-level math for 20 years. She has a master's in education with an emphasis in math education and over 24 graduate hours in mathematics and statistics. With over 16 years in online education, she has experience in curriculum development, creating online content, training and mentoring new instructors, and writing and facilitating online courses. Professor Rosenberry is currently an IT training specialist at Penn State and is assisting in an effort to move the university to remote teaching. We're very excited to have both of them with us today. We had a great, robust conversation. If you were with us yesterday, and we're excited to have that again today. If you have, I know they're going to be asking for participation throughout, so I want to direct you to that chat box. When you chat, please go ahead and change the setting to all panelists and attendees so everybody can be part of the discussion. I've already added in a link in there that they're going to tell you a little bit about soon. So you'll be clicking on that shortly. And finally, if at any point you want to jump in with a question and use your voice to do so instead of the chat box, just raise your hand and I'll jump in, unmute you, and let you be a part of the conversation. So now I'd love to turn it over to our presenters for today.
I see some familiar names, Tami. How about you? Hi, Scott. I see some names from last night. I remember Kaylin. I remember several people. So thank you again for joining us. We're going to talk about Google, Google Meet You There. So Google Meet, Google Hangouts, you've probably heard of those. And depending on what you're using at school to do your communication, you are going to learn something we hope very helpful tonight. There's a link on the screen, but you don't need it because it's going to be in the chat. And I don't think the chat persists. There you go. Great job. So if you're gonna click that link for us, it's going to take you to a Google form. And all you're going to give us is your email address and just how familiar you are with Google. We're going to use that email address later to invite you to a Google Meet so you can kind of experience one live. So go ahead and take a minute to do that. When you're done with that and you come back, if you could please just type in the chat and let us know if you use Google now and kind of how you use it, if you do. So I'll be quiet while you do your thing. If you just popped in, there's a link in the chat. It's just a short Google form that we're going to have you fill out so we can invite you to a Google Meet later in the session.
I promise we're not going to send your email address anywhere else.
I won't. You got to watch out for Tami. I'm just saying. Okay, so Daphne doesn't use it, but that's okay because you're going to learn today and you might like something. Scott says he uses it for one-on-one tutoring and meetings. Nice. The link won't let you click. Oh no. Catherine, if you want to, all you really have to do is give us your email address. But if you want to, you can use the link on the screen and type it in. It's just bit, like bit, .ly, and then / and then Hawks Meet. Or you can use the QR code on there. Anissa, you're going to love it. Oh, we have a bunch of newbies. This is nice. I think you'll like some of the features. Yeah, and as we go along, please ask questions. Okay, so Daphne's given us her email address that way. Let me grab that so I don't forget to invite you. Whoops, don't want that on there.
Hey, Leah, I can take care of that part.
Oh, good deal. Thank you so much. I'm trying to open the results to see how many people have done it so we kind of get a good gauge of when we can get started. And again, when you get back, if you could share if you're using Google Meets and Hangout, and if you are, how you're using it. This is this is our favorite. Oh, my backdrop back there, or my slide backdrop. Either way, thank you very much, Anissa. Yeah, thank you. Well, very good. How about this? I'm trying to gauge. Tami, can you open up the responses? Do you know how many are there right now?
Yes. Yeah, I think everybody's in there.
Perfect. Okay, then we're going to get started. Awesome. Listen, Tami and I both like interactive presentations. So as Danny said, if you would be willing to speak, if you would like to do that, feel free to raise your hand or put things in the chat. We would love to have your input as we go along, and then especially at the end. But as we go too, I am trying to stay situated with all my windows here. So the first thing we need to know is, do you have a Gmail account? If you do have a Gmail account, it doesn't have to be a school one, although it might be. If you have a Gmail account, you want to open that. If you don't have a Gmail account, that's okay too. You're going to go to hangouts.google.com. Or if you're on your phone, you can download the Hangouts app. And so you just want to have access to one of those things as we go along, because we're going to be pointing some things out that you might want to follow along with and see and ask questions about. So again, so either open up a Gmail, or if you need to, you can go to hangouts.google.com. Or you can download it on your phone. Perfect. Okay, so on the phone, this is what it'll look like. It sort of looks like two quotes, like people are talking. That's what I always think about it as, but anyway. But yeah, that's what Hangouts looks like. It looks like almost like a little speech bubble with the quotes on it. And so if you're on mobile, that's what it'll look like. When we use Google Hangouts and Meet, Hangouts is kind of my part today, and then Tami's going to talk more about Meet. But with Hangouts, it can be groups, but it's more one-to-one. It's just like Google's chat. And so you can have more than one person in the chat. So you can do kind of like a group type function. I'll show you that in just a second. But one of the reasons we like it, I like it, is it just streamlines the Q&A process. If I'm on and my student's on, they can ask a question. I can answer them right away, just like I can with chat. Takes a little bit of the back and forth out of it that you sometimes get with email. And so that really helps. It allows for lots of flexibility in office hours. Scott said that he uses it for one-on-one tutoring. And so we'll show you some of those functions. You can actually do a little drawing in there and some things like that. And then the other thing is it encourages group participation. Sometimes students might be wary about one-on-one. I find that anyway, not always, but sometimes they are. It's a safety in numbers type thing. And so we're going to show you how you can add multiple people to the same sort of group chat, if you want to think about it that way, so that you can talk to more than one student at a time. So how are we going to get this done? I'm going to show you. So Google Hangouts, you can think about it having 3 parts. There's the regular chat part. So that would be like you would be texting on your phone or chatting. Maybe you use Teams or anything else. Do you guys, if you do use something else, like I use Teams at work, or sometimes people use Slack. If you use any one of those things, it's kind of similar to that. Those things have more functionality. This is more just for chat, but the chat part is the same. You can also make a phone call. And so I like this function especially because, not that I don't want my students to have my phone number, but you know, I can call my students in a more anonymous way. They can receive a call through their computer, so you don't have to be calling their cell phone if you don't want to. It goes right from almost like your email address to their email address, but in a phone call over the computer. So that's really handy. And then if you have an enterprise account, so if you have an education account at your school or through a business or whatever, then you would also have the option of having video calls. So we have video calls, and I think we use, honestly, chat the most, but it's nice that we have those other options when we need them. So I'm going to show you how to get to all of those. Yeah, there we go. So if you're in your Gmail, just your regular old Gmail, and if you've done any customization, it might be in a different place, but in general, below your list of folders that's on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll have you can see right here, there's that little speech bubble with the quotes in it, sort of paled out because it's not signed in. You can sign in right there to sign in to Google Hangouts. The name might throw you off a little bit. Like Hangout to me feels like a meeting to me, right? But Hangouts is the chat part, and then Meet is the meeting part, but just to make that clear. So you sign in. And then once you sign in, and I know there's lots of crazy arrows here, but I'm going to show you everything, so no worries. Let me get my spotlight over here. There we go. Okay, so right up here, if you look at kind of the top area, that's where the settings are. And so you can click on that. You can set a message to say whether you're in the office or out of the office. You can choose, like right here, you can see this is Tami, and she has a little green dot there. That means she's good to go. She's free. She can talk to you. You can choose other statuses so that if you're busy working on a project or something like that, you can put a little red dot up there and so forth. So it's a quick way to signal that you're busy or not busy. It will actually pick up from your calendar. So if you do use Calendar 2 and you're having a meeting at that time, it'll pick up that status from the meeting. So that way it'll show red when you're in a meeting and so forth. You can change that manually though, just by clicking the down arrow right here, and then you can click that. You can also put a custom message to say, you know, working on a project or something. So if there's something crazy going on that day and you want to give a little bit more information about why you're not available or whatever, you could be traveling, you could be in the car, who knows what. And so you could put that right there. Next, under the conversations there, this is the kind of the chat bubble that is the Hangouts. And so when I want to chat back and forth, that's the button that I click. Next to that, it's like a people button right here. That would be access to my contacts. So again, the more information you have in Google about, your contacts, and if you're using that for mail and so forth, the more options you'll have right here. You can always type somebody's name or number in, like kind of from scratch, sort of adding a contact, but you don't have to do that if they're in there from your email or whatever it is. Over on this side, there's where if I want to make a phone call, I can do that. And it's not a phone call like on your phone, it's through the computer like we are right now in Zoom. So it's voice over internet, and so you can make a call that way. We recommend using a headset. It's just better sound and easier to hear, at least for me. It's much easier to hear that way. And it picks up a lot less of the background noise too. Hold on one second, sorry. Nobody wants to cough these days. It's like, don't cough or don't sneeze for sure. So it was just a tickle, I promise. And so you can click that to get on the phone, use a headset. It's really pretty clear. I didn't realize this until, I don't know, maybe a month ago. I have AirPods. I didn't know I could hook them up to my computer. I thought they were only for my phone, but you can hook them up if your computer has Bluetooth. You can use those as well. I do prefer a headset, which do you remember that commercial several years ago where the little girls were in the ballet class and everybody laughed because the one girl still had dial-up? That's how I feel about my headset, because everybody has cool headsets that just have the ear, the ear things and stuff like that, and I still am wearing like a big headset. But anyway, you get the idea. But the sound is really good, so it's worth it. So I'll say that. And then right up here, this plus button, if you click it, that's where you can start a new conversation. When I have conversations with people, they'll be listed right here. And you can arrange this order how you want to. So I could arrange it so that certain people are on top. I know, Kaylin, see? Kaylin says they rock. You can arrange it so certain people that you talk to all the time are on top. You can arrange it so that they're in alphabetical order. So you have some options as far as that goes too. And then the other thing too, I said you might have it arranged so it's on the other side of your screen. It is just down below by default, down below your list of folders in your Gmail. You can actually move it to the other side using your Google settings. And then that way you can have a whole list of folders on one side, and then you can have a longer list of Google Hangout, contacts and things like that on the other side. So that's just another thing to think about. All right, so I'm gonna pretend I'm clicking right here that I'm gonna start a new conversation. So this is what it would look like if I clicked that. Like that. Okay, so this little thing kind of pops out, and then it gives me my choices here. So I can enter a name, an email, or a phone number, so I can go straight out. So if I did have a student's phone number, I could contact them that way. Or again, I could use the email, or once it's a known contact, then I can just use the name. You can see right here, I can actually do more than one person at a time. I can do a group. So I could add a person and then add another person and go from there. And again, I still have that list of people that I've talked to recently. So I could just go straight down. Instead of entering somebody, I could just go straight down and contact somebody directly like that. Once you click the button to start the chat or start that conversation, you get a sort of pop-up that looks like this. And again, with the crazy arrows, I'm going to go counterclockwise. So up here, if I want to turn that chat into a video call, I just click my video camera right there. Again, only if you have an enterprise account, you'll have that option. So if it'll either be there or it won't be there based on your account. So if it's there, you're good to go to use it. Once I'm in a chat with somebody, so Tami and I are sitting there talking and we're like, yeah, everything's going great. Oh, we need to ask our manager something. So we could actually just click right here and then add another person to the conversation. And so that person could come right in, then it would be the three of us talking. It actually sort of pops into a new window with the three people, but it still is like seamless for Tami and I. Like it'll just add another person and we'll still be in there. We won't have to get out and go somewhere else or anything like that. Next is the phone call right there. So if you do want to call them instead of just chatting, you can do that. Down here is the text box. This is where you would actually enter your messages. Now it depends on your company or your school, or whether it's yours personally. Ours, they keep the history off. And so some places might keep the history on, other places might keep the history off. So when Tami and I have a conversation, when we sign out of it, it's gone. So I won't have a record of that. We've talked about things before that I wanted to save, and I've actually just click and drag and then paste it into something else. But if you are working on something that you need to keep, you want to use a Google Doc or something like that to go along with. But you just type it in here like you normally would, and then you can hit enter, and then it'll go up into the feed there. Right here, I have a button for emojis, so I can add emojis if I want to. Over here, I have a button to add a photo, so I can add, whatever I want to. You can actually just click and add screenshots too. So if we're having a question about how something works, or I want to show her something quirky that's going on in my grade book or something like that, I can actually just do a screenshot and then paste it in there. Up here, anywhere you see the gear pretty much anymore, those are settings. So you can click on the settings, and then there's just some choices you can make about how you want your chats to appear and things like that. And then the last one, and I like this depending on how big or long the conversation's going to be. If I click this arrow right here, it pops out. And so I could have like a bigger view of a conversation with Tami that way, or whoever I'm talking to. So that's kind of the settings the whole way around the chat little window there. Haven't seen any questions yet. Feel free to ask questions if you have them, or you can raise your hand and ask them that way. But I'll keep going. And if you, like I said, if you need anything, we'll be glad to stop. If I want to do the group, like we said before, I can create a group. And so I can click right here, just the same way that we added people to a regular chat a little bit ago. I can add people here as well. And so I can click people down here and do it this way, or I could put somebody's name or phone number up there. Once I've entered people in there, I can click, once there's at least one person in there, I can click create group. It's grayed out right now because I don't have any people in there. So I can do it that way. So you could make a group for your entire class, or maybe you're having students do a group project. You could make a group for each of the groups, or you could easily teach them to do this. In fact, they probably already know how to do this. So there's that. After you create that group, you can actually do a call from there. I think that's a repeat. Is that a repeat? Oh, no. Yeah, it's the same thing. So the interface looks the same whether you're doing a call or whether you're doing a chat. So I was showing you all the chat stuff. Now, whenever I go back here, I hit my plus sign because I want to either make a call or do a chat or whatever like that. You'll notice it's the same pop-up. It looks like I'm getting the same thing. Put the name, email, or phone number in there. And then when I do that, this time because I'm making a phone call, I get this. It's actually a little like phone dialer. So I can go over here and I could use the number pad to make a call like I normally would in my phone or whatever. Or I can use somebody from my contact list and do it the same way. And notice right there, it's free. And your students don't know your real phone number. So again, it's a bonus, gives you a little bit of privacy, but they can still contact you if they need you and so forth. Google, we're not here to talk about that, but Google Phone also will, if they call you, if you make a Google phone number and they call you, it'll take a message and send it to your email if you set it up that way. So that's kind of neat too. It's a way to let students know that you want to have their communication without it, maybe coming directly to your cell phone at, 11 o'clock at night or although because some of us are working at that time and we don't mind, but others of us go to sleep early. And so just kidding. Okay, so you do this call, right? Once I click and make the phone call, then I get a kind of like a little, it sort of looks like a room, right? Here's my phone call like this. So I have more buttons, of course, just like usual. Some of them are self-explanatory, right? This one looks like a microphone. That's exactly what it is. So I could click this to mute if I wanted to, or I could leave it open when I'm talking. I can end the phone call by hanging it up, right? Well, younger kids won't even know what that is, but I could hang up the phone and do it that way. Again, if you have an enterprise account, you could add video to that call if you wanted to. So that's good. And then whoever I'm talking to is right over here. So it's like the picture, you'll know who you're talking to, whatever picture they have uploaded or whatever. Always upload a profile picture. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but then that way your students will see you even when you're not on camera, and it just gives a little bit of extra kind of, what's that called? Not closeness. Come on. Not closeness. Somebody help me. Not engagement.
Connection?
No, there's a word for it. Not familiarity, although that's a good one, Janet. Oh, I'll think of it. Now I'm going to be personal. Look at all these great words they're coming up with. Personalization is a great word. Visibility is a great word, but there's a word for it when they're like, I'll come up with it. Don't worry. Sorry. Okay. So you can actually share your screen if you want to, just like we are in here, like I'm sharing my screen. So that's kind of cool. You could even do that in like a little phone call type hangout. Here are your settings again. And then here is if you wanted to add another person again. Still not proximity. I've sent them down the rabbit hole. Presence. Thank you so much. Exactly. It establishes presence. It lets them know you're there for them. It gives them a connection to you. Exactly. Thank you so much. I'm supposed to know these things. Okay, now what's the difference between all these things? Let's do a little comparison. So for chat, you can either enter the name or the email, right? Phone number doesn't work there. It's name or email. You can have groups up to 150 depending on your account. So most classes, except the really, really, really big classes, are less than 150 students. So you could have your whole class in a chat if you wanted to. And so that would just be like, that way anybody who chatted would see everybody else's. And so, like I said, 150 people, I don't know, but 30 people totally would work. You can use those emojis, you can drop pictures in, you can draw on there. So that's really interesting and good. You can add a little bit of, flavor to it and stuff. You have to use your Google account or the Hangouts app to start the conversation. You can talk to students who are not on a Gmail account, but you have to have your Gmail account to get it started. Theoretically, if your school's using Gmail, everybody has Gmail, so that's not an issue, but just in case. All right, so that's Hangouts chat. That's the chat part of it. Next part of it would be if you wanted to call. So for calling, you can use your name, an email, or a phone number. That makes sense. Calls are just up to 25 people. Again, it depends on your organization. So there might be a smaller limit. I know when we first got Google, it was smaller, and then they kept expanding it a little bit and expanding it more. So that could be happening for wherever you are as well. Again, you have to start it in the Google account or in the Hangouts app. So either one of those to actually start the call. If a person is not in your contacts, you're not going to see a phone number or anything. You'll just see unknown caller. So the only way you'll know who's either chatting or calling you is if they're already in your contacts. So if you are going to put your class in there, just make sure they're all in there as contacts. You'd only have to do it once at the beginning of the semester. It'd be, sort of worth it. So you have to have a microphone and speakers for that one. With chat, you don't need a microphone and you don't need speakers. With a phone call, of course, microphone and speakers, because you have to be able to talk and hear. And then the last one is to use a video call. Again, name, email, or phone, groups up to 25. Call and video call is pretty much the same. Google account or Hangouts app, same with the microphone. You don't have to have a webcam. That would be optional to do the video call, but that's sort of a point of a video call, so there's that. And you can share a screen, which is really good. And again, remember with video, that's an enterprise item, so not everybody has that. So just look for that video camera on your Google stuff, on your different Google menus and things like that. That's how you'll know you have that. This is what mobile Hangouts looks like. It looks pretty much the same, right? I mean, it's still the name, phone number, email, and your contacts are still listed there. There's your people, there's your favorite people, there's chat, there's a phone call. So those options still seem the same. If I click on somebody to like initiate contact with them, it gives me a choice. I can either send a message, I can do a video call if that's enabled, I can do a voice call, or I can say, whoops, clicked you by mistake. And so Hangouts on the phone, pretty much the same as Hangouts on your computer. You might say, why would I use Hangouts on my phone? I can use my message or whatever. Again, if you want to keep that anonymity and not use, you know, have your phone number out there or whatever, then you could use Hangouts and not have to worry about that. So I think we are ready to move into Meet. So Tammy's going to take over from here while we're kind of making this switch. If you have any questions, please ask, and we'll be glad to show you whatever, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Leah. I use Meet, or I use Hangouts for chatting with my students because I don't want them to have my telephone number. We see lots of students every year, and so I really do use it. And when I'm out running errands, they can still text me through Meet, and I can either say, hey, can I get back to you in an hour? Or, oh, you know, look at this example if I know it in my head. I can answer them immediately. So that helps the students a little bit, so they're not waiting on us, because I think that's something that a lot of students struggle with, is just waiting on us to respond. We're going to go ahead and talk about Google Meet now. The thing about Google is super easy to use, and once you've used one application, you know how to use all of them. And Google at one time had announced that they were going to merge Hangouts and Meet. So you'll see wording, you'll see Hangouts, you'll see Hangouts Meet, and then you'll see Meet. So Hangouts is pretty much what Leah was just showing you. It's kind of an application. It's in your Gmail or it's on your phone. Meet is more when you actually want to get together with a lot of people. We use this where I teach a lot, and it's become very, very helpful for us. If you're downloading it, again, it looks like a quotation bubble, but it has a little video camera in the middle of it. And hey, Leah, do you want to pop back up that link in case somebody has come in and not given us their email address? Maybe over in the chat, you can do that. We were going to invite everyone to a Meet at the end of our session so that you can see what it looks like and maybe play around with it a little bit. So if you don't mind, in a little bit, we're going to ask you to either go to meet.google.com or download the Meet app if you don't have it already. And again, it looks like that little quotation bubble with a video camera in the middle. The good thing about Google Meet is you can schedule a meeting in advance and send it out to everybody. Or, as Leah and I have done a lot, we can just say, hey, let's get into a Meet real quick because I need to show you this, or I need to talk to you about this. So you can either do it on the spot, or you can actually schedule the meeting. Now, when you go to your calendar, those of you who have a Google account, especially if it's through your school, you have access to Google Calendar. When you go in to schedule something over in the calendar, and that's what's over here on the right, you can click on the day and time, and this window pops up asking you for more information, like a title, and hey, is this day and time right? And so that's what I'm showing you right now, is when you go to your calendar, you can schedule something email everybody just like Leah's doing right now, and then they will be able to just check their email and enter the meet. That's good because you're the only one who actually has to be in there at the moment. Not everybody has to, you know, go here, go there, enter this, all that kind of stuff. As long as they can get to their email, they can click on the link and boom, it's done. We can also add guests, and I'll show you what that looks like on the next page. And then add conferencing, and this is where the wording gets a little bit tricky. This is where they started combining Hangouts and Meet, and so we'll look at that. But once you have chosen your time on your schedule, you can go ahead and hit save. If you want to do some more to it, like I would suggest you doing, if you actually click on it and edit it, you can edit the time if that wasn't right. When you click on add conferencing, it says, hey, do you want to do a meet? And then it automatically gives you the link right here. Also, as soon as we invite people, I'll show you what an invitation looks like. It has the link on the invitation. So they can just open up their email, click on it, and they're good to go. Over here on the right-hand side, this is where you can add your guests. And again, you can add them by name or by email address. Whenever you click save up at the top of the screen that I just showed you, it'll ask you, do you want to go ahead and email everybody? And so yes, of course, you can go ahead and send it, or you can wait a little while and see if, you know, maybe you've forgotten someone, maybe you need to update the list in a day or two. But going ahead and sending it will automatically send an invitation similar to this to all of the people that you have invited. So they get this, they get the time, the date in their time zone. I'm in Central time zone, not Eastern, so that's why it says Central time. It has the link. If they need to join by phone number or by phone, excuse me, then they can just dial in, use the PIN, and participate that way. And down at the bottom, they can go ahead and RSVP. They can say, yes, I'm coming, maybe it depends, or no, I'm not going to be able to make it. As all of us, as we're transitioning to online teaching, this can be very helpful because you may have this time in your week that is perfect for answering questions. You can send out this invitation, and if everybody says no, then you'll know, okay, that's not a good time for the rest of my students. If a lot of people say yes, then you can go at it from there and you can say, okay, you know, we're going to have this many people. It's just a way to get a good gauge and also make sure that the students have gotten the invitation. So that's a way that they can accept or decline. If we actually go to the webpage meet.google.com, this is the screen that pops up. Now, again, you do need to have a Google account in order to do this. And Purdue Global, we have the enterprise account, so we're allowed some things with this. Whenever we go to meet.google.com, up on the top right-hand corner, again, the gear is settings, but that's mainly your audio, your microphone, your speakers, all that kind of good stuff, your webcam. So you can go ahead and get that all set up before you get into the meeting. And then it'll show you again. I'll show you again. It asks you again if everything is okay. Now, there are two ways to actually get into a meeting. As you can see right down here, I already have a meeting and I can just pop into that one. I can just click right here and go into that one. Or if I'm the one starting it, I can click on the join or start a meeting. When I do that, this pops up. It says, okay, do you want to start your own? If you just want to start your own, then click continue. Otherwise, if you have a meeting code or a name of a meeting that you know you're supposed to be in right now, then you can enter it here. And remember, on that invitation, it had a meeting code. So you can always enter that in right here. After you get into the meeting, before you're actually put into the meeting, it says, okay, let's make sure everything is working okay. As a general rule, when I get into a meeting with a lot of people, I turn off my microphone, I turn off my camera. If it's a small faculty meeting that only like 10 or 15 will be there, then we leave everything on so that we can see each other and wave and say hi and say, hey, you're not in the usual place. Where are you today? So it is a really good way to kind of get to know your teammates if you leave your camera on. But for a big meeting and if you have a class, it might be good, especially the first time, to have all the microphones and cameras off. Over on the right-hand side, you can go ahead and join, and that'll take you into the meet. If you choose to present, that other button beside it was present, then this window will come up and it'll say, okay, do you want to share your entire screen? Or do you just want to share an application like PowerPoint? We'll talk about this a little more at the very end with best practices, but the only downside of sharing your entire screen with the world is you might want to make sure your desktop has no personal information whatsoever. I would love to just absolutely know that all of our students have the best intentions and that they are going to keep our privacy, but we can't be guaranteed of that. So for your desktop wallpaper, if you have a picture of your kids, you might want to change it. If you have some documents that are labeled something very specific, just create a folder. I just created a folder called desktop and I put everything in there. And that way my desktop is just a little bit cleaner. I think I need to go through and do it again because stuff just keeps on popping up on my desktop. That's a really good reason though to just share the application. So you can just share PowerPoint, or you can just share Excel or Word or whatever you happen to be using. You can just share that application instead of your entire screen. And then once you get in there, there are lots of buttons, but like I said, once you've used Hangouts, all of these buttons are familiar. Google uses the same buttons for all of their different applications. Over on the bottom left-hand side, we see meeting details. If you click there, the link will come up. So just in case you have somebody email you or shoot you a little Hangout, I can't get in, you can go there and grab the link real quick and send it to them. And then of course the microphone button, if it's red, that means you're muted. If it's clear like this, it means you're live. The hang up button, and I think those of us over 30 actually know that means to put the handset back in the cradle. Nobody else knows what that means, but at least all of the cell phone providers still use that symbol, so everybody knows what it means. And then your camera, again, when it's red, your camera's off. When it's clear or white, then your camera's on. Now, something new that Google has put in here is captions. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. I'll also show you the present, and I'll show you these 3 dots. But up here on the right-hand side, this is where your list of people are going to be. You can click on the little chat box, and that'll show you the running chat, or you can click on the people, and it shows you the list of attendees in your meeting. So to turn the captions on, I was playing with this today, and truthfully, I don't know if y'all have figured this one out yet, but I kind of have an accent. I don't hear it, but apparently other people across the nation and world tell me that I have an accent. So for closed captioning, sometimes it's a struggle for me because it picks up weird phrases. That's not what I'm saying, but that's what it thinks I'm saying. So I was very impressed that Google Meet actually picked up the actual words I was saying. And you can see when I turned them on that down at the bottom, I spoke a sentence. I said, there is real-time captioning in Google Meet. And boom, it appeared and it was correct and it was punctuated correctly. So I was super excited about that. Leah and I were talking about this, and of course, if your institution has policies for or against this, you might want to talk to them about it. Most of us have standards for accuracy in captioning, and I totally get that. The one thing I'm impressed with is even with my accent, Google Meet was able to correctly identify what I was saying. So I'd be willing to say that the Google Meet captioning is going to be really, really close. So that is the captioning. We also have the settings on the right-hand side, the 3 dots. The first one is to change layout. That just kind of changes how everything is on your screen, and you can play around with those if you'd like. It'll also allow you to go full screen. You can turn on the captions here. You can do your settings, and that's kind of the same thing as the other gears are. It just gives you another place to find it. If you're having trouble with audio, you can switch to your phone, and then of course the report a problem and the help buttons are down here. Another very cool thing is when you start to present, Google will ask you again, hey, your entire screen or a window. So it'll go through that same process. If you're in a meeting with everybody and then somebody says, hey, do you have that one document? And you say, yeah, let me share it with you. So you can go pull it up and then share just that window with your colleagues or with your students. Whenever you start presenting, the Google Meet screen will kind of go black like this. You'll see this. And whatever application you're sharing, that's where you can use your mouse and everything so people can follow along. Whenever you are ready to stop sharing your screen, you can either click the stop presenting in the middle, or along the bottom of your monitor, you'll see just this little window. And that's where you can also stop sharing. If you're going to be sharing for a while, I usually just hide this. So especially if I'm sharing my entire screen, that way students don't see that at the bottom and they're like, what is that at the bottom? I just go ahead and hide that whenever I'm sharing my entire screen so nobody sees it. Now this is going to be the best button ever, especially if you choose to use this with classes, or if you're in a faculty meeting with a lot of people who haven't used this before. Remember I showed you up on the top right hand side, there's the little people icon, there's the chat icon. When you click on people, it shows either their picture or their webcam. It says their name. And if you click on them, like I clicked on Leah, I can mute Leah. So if there's someone who has the TV on in the background, or their dogs just started barking, or something crazy going on, that happens to all of us, then you can actually just click on their name and you can mute them. One other thing that we didn't really talk about tonight was the capability to record. If you have an enterprise account, administrators or certain individuals have the ability to record. Google Meet is what we use for our faculty meetings. And our administrator is able to set it up and they're able to record that and then send out the link. I'm just, a lowly professor, so I don't have that capability. But if you are in administration, or if you know somebody in administration, then you might ask them if that feature has been enabled. But that allows you to record the things that are happening so that you can send it out to anybody who wasn't there. So in short, for Google Meet, all you need is a name or an email address. Depending on your account, you can have up to 100 people in a room, which I think is pretty cool. The person with the Google account has to initiate it. Again, you need your microphone and speakers, because without those, why are you using a Meet? But the webcam is actually optional. Also, now that we're all working long distance, I think the webcam is going to be really, really cool, because I think we need to be engaged with one another. We need to see each other. I'm kind of used to it. I work from home anyway. But if you're used to seeing your colleagues every day, if you're on like day 4, 5, or 6 of being at home, you may need to see somebody. So definitely consider using your webcam. You can also do the screen share, and then of course the recording option is available. So some best practices, I'm going to kind of go over these, Leah, and then if you want to take it from here, then we can go ahead and switch over. Best practices, make sure you have a pretty good microphone. You can get into a meet with one of your colleagues and test your microphone, test your webcam, just to make sure everything's working okay. But whenever you do speak, make sure you're speaking clearly. Try to eliminate any background noise. My air conditioner is on right now, so I hope that's not causing too much of a problem.
I cannot believe you said that.
But a headset's better, whatever.
No, I just mean I can't believe your air's on.
Oh, good night. It was 83 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
Just saying. All right. And then make sure, especially if you're used to being in an on-site class and you're changing to online, talk to the students with their first name. Because in a classroom, we can just look at somebody and they know who we're talking to. But when you're in a group setting like this, you have to say their names. You have to say, oh, Joe, that was a really good comment. I like where you're going with that. Or, hey, Susie, that's a great thing. So make sure that you call out their names, because they're not going to be able to judge who you're talking to just by your head movement. And then, like we talked about earlier, please protect your privacy. Protect your privacy, your kids' privacy. If you do decide to have online chats with your students, whatever's behind you, notice Leah has a flag. That's awesome. Mine, I'm up in a room where I can close the door. Just be very careful if you have kids at home that they're not like walking behind your camera. Now, if you have cats Cats are great. People love cats. Like I have a cat tree right over here. I'm thinking about putting it right behind me. People love cats, but to protect your privacy and your family's privacy, try not to have anything super personal hanging out back behind you.
I sent the invitation. And so if you've gotten the invitation and you want to click on that link, if you could, like, we want to stay in here, but I want you to see the meet. So if you could do that maybe on your phone. You don't have to end Zoom first. Nope, you do not. If the sound gets weird, make sure you turn off one of the sounds.
Hey, Leah, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, okay?
Yep, I'm going to start sharing. Hey, give me 1 sec, okay? No, we're good. Here we are. We're fine. In fact, I'll just show you how to start it. So let me share this way. So here's my, hold on 1 second. Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay, so no, not all this. Here we go. Get rearranged now that so here's my my Google Calendar, right? And so I have most things hidden, but here's the little meeting I made for us. So all I'm going to do is double click on this meeting and it brings up the meeting. Here's all the people that we did. But right here, and yours should look very similar to this. If I just click on Join Hangouts Meet, I'm going to click that and it'll open up my Hangouts. And so I have a thing right here. It says, do I want to join now? And I do. So I'm going to go join now. Hi, everybody. Oh, it's asking me to admit people. Sorry about that.
I'm admitting them.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. So the reason it's asking to admit is because people are outside of our organization. So if you do have an enterprise account, maybe they don't want people from outside to join. So for instance, especially if it's a school district, like if it's younger kids or whatever. So when I created the invitation, what it said was, there are people invited from outside your institution. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, do you still want to invite them? I'm like, yeah, I do. And so it let me do that. But now it's just doing a double, check to make sure. And so it was popping up there that Tami was saying admit to let people in. So here you are, you're in the Hangouts. If you can't find your controls when you're in here, you just have to kind of mouse down. Hi, Nick. You just have to mouse down to the bottom and then that'll give you, here, I'm gonna be still a minute. It'll kind of go away. And then if I ever don't have my controls, don't be alarmed. Just mouse down to the bottom and those will pop up. I'm gonna move my Zoom pictures there. So here we are. I can see all of you. Very nice. And so those pop up. If I want to unmute somebody, I could do that over here. I could let somebody talk if they wanted to. Over here, I can use this little up arrow like this, and I can get the information for the meeting. So if somebody, I was like, oh my goodness, we forgot to invite whoever. I could go right over here. Look, I can say copy joining information, paste that into a quick email, and we're ready to go. I can put attachments in here. If I attach things to the calendar, maybe I'm going to present a class and I want to attach the PowerPoints or some sort of study guide or something like that. I can attach that to the calendar, and then whenever we come in here, it'll be available that people can download it, and so they could use it from there. Let's see. There's the video cam if we want to start that. Go ahead. Hey,
everybody, I was just saying you can play around with the layout. Yeah. Remember we talked about that? If you click on those three little dots down in the...
You have to mute one of yours.
Oh, I did mute my meet.
Yeah, so here's the three dots, so I can change it. So if I want full screen, or I could change the layout. I'm going to click change layout, and so I can choose one of these. So maybe I don't want everybody at the side like they are. Maybe I want to be tiles. So now we have tiles. And then I can, move people around. I can click that. Here, let me get back to where I was. Let me go down here, do this, change the layout again. So however you want to do it. So I have that. This is called the sidebar. So up here, I have my my little people up here. If I click that, it'll give me the participant list so I can see who's in there. If I wanted to click on a specific person like Catherine, I could click like this. I could pin her, and that means I could like pin her video, or I could pin her audio, or I could pin her to the list. This is where Tami said that I could say, Catherine, your mic's on, quit it. And here is I can boot her if she gets crazy. And believe it or not, at Penn State this week, we've had some people disrupting the Zoom sessions for the replacement classes. So everybody's in an uproar about that. Okay, so there's the people. Here's the chat. And so Nick said hello. So we have the chat right here. Whenever that is closed, if somebody messages, it'll pop up right here. And I think this turns a different, I think this sort of lights up. Can somebody chat something? Yep, it gets a little number on it right there. So it'll say, oh, I have messages I can look at. And so I'll do that. We can do it that way. So anyway, what questions do you have? If you have. I think Tami actually has to run. Well, I guess we both have to run because we're getting so close to 7 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's close out of this. Let's go back to the regular Zoom room. So I'm just going to, I'm going to hang up on y'all. See this? Tami, did you hear that? I said y'all. I'm going to leave the call just by clicking the hang up. So I'm going to click that. And then it'll ask me for some nice feedback. Yeah, it was good. And then it just sends me back to the regular Meet screen. I can start a new meeting, or I can go back into the one I was. I'm going to drag this back over here, put that somewhere. I'm going to find my Zoom window. I'm going to stop sharing. There we go.
So Kaylin asked how students ask questions. Kaylin, that's a good question. They can do it a couple of different ways. They can either type it into the chat, or if you have a kind of small group of responsible students, you can actually, say, hey, just turn on your microphone and ask. And that may be something that the first time, if you choose to use Google Meet, the first time you go in there, you lay down some ground rules and just say, hey, don't turn on your mic and interrupt me, please. I mean, say it nicely, but you know what I mean. Give me a heads up if you're about to turn on your mic, or, every few minutes I'm going to stop and ask if there are questions. If you have a question, feel free to turn on your mic then. So it might be good to play around with it a little bit and then maybe figure out some ground rules before you start getting a lot of students in there. You can also do this with your colleagues. Just get a bunch of your colleagues in a room and y'all play around with it and get used to it that way.
We're big testers. Like, we practice things and try and figure things out and, stuff like that. So highly recommend that. Any other questions? Feel free to put those in chat, I guess, while Danny wraps us up.
Okay, well, I'll make this quick. I know you both have to run. Thank you so much for doing this with us. It was fun. Glad we got everyone onto video there and as part of the other application. I'll be sharing the recording. I think you all can send me the slides. I'll post those up as well. Hope everyone is able to put this to use. So thanks for being here today. If you have questions, email us at marketing@hawkslearning.com.